Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. We're here today with the Wood Elves, who I don't play terribly often, but today we're taking them against Samurai Warriors Empire. Got double Waystalker here. These guys are good at taking out Empire cavalry or artillery. We're going to throw some arrows of Kurnos there into some Knights of the Blazing Sun and Empire Knights over on the far side. Do some good damage, kind of side-shotting through some cav there. Kill about 10 models on one, about 3 on the other. Over here, though, immediately I've got 3 Glade Riders. They all get netted and absolutely destroyed by some Knights. Knights of the Blazing Sun, Empire Knights. Very nice cast from that Light Wizard there. We've also got Demigryph Knights here. Plenty of State Troops, Spearmen, and Swordsmen. A Boris Todbringer up in the air. Myself, obviously, with the two Legolas bow boys. We've got a Caster Lord, and that is TREEBEARD himself, the Ancient Tree Man. Rocking it with Flesh to Stone, which I definitely thought was area of effect, and it is in fact not, even if you overcast it. Feels bad. Anyway, we've also got Earthblood. Definitely would have been better to have Shield, Shield of Thorns, but yeah, I figured maybe we'll give Flesh to Stone a try. I was thinking it would be AoE and you could maybe get like a whole bunch of units with it, but yeah, that's not actually how it works. You can see my Glade Riders having been driven off is pretty bad for me. I was hoping to use their mass to at least kind of stop up these Knights as they start to charge in here. But we're going to switch the Dryads into the front line to tackle the State Troops here. The Waystalkers also, with some Eternal Guard support, going to be just kind of continuously picking away at the cav on the flanks. So it'll be decent engagement for me. The Sigmar Sons will match up well against the Dryads here, but elsewhere the Dryads will be very effective against State Troops. They're higher weapon strength, good melee attack, armor, physical resistance, a lot going for them there. But unfortunately, the Knight Rush is pretty real. Boris and all the Knights just cleaving through the front line, immediately getting back, getting on my Glade Guards. Got a mix of Starfires and Hagbane tips here, and the Glade Riders getting absolutely terrified away. So not too many surprises there, but do still have some Eternal Guards in the back line. You can see these Demigryph Knights Empire Knights get very, very low, despite, you know, the Barona's Time Warp and everything. All the defensive buffs from the Warrior Priest already having worn off. And yeah, all of a sudden, I don't really know how, but the Knights are starting to get dragged down. You can see these Knights of the Blazing Sun here get kind of caught up on some Eternal Guard. If they come try and rear charge this area, Knights of the Blazing Sun will do a little bit of extra damage to the Ancient Tree Man, but he can use his mass to kind of block them up as well. You can see the Knights of the Blazing Sun do get a good charge. They're not doing a whole lot of damage, though, because of the armor and physical resistance, and you can see the Eternal Guard also responding there. So pretty good stuff. Both of these Waystalkers also using up their ammunition very efficiently. I haven't got a lot of models down yet, but just kind of picking away at the HP continuously. Ooh, nice Arrows of Kurnos. Does some good damage to those Demigryph Knights. Takes out, what, 4 models? Just absolutely excellent. Great value, to be honest. Over here on this side, Eternal Guards just slowly dragging down the Knights of the Blazing Sun, and as my Elf units come back, of course, they've got pretty good leadership. We can kind of set up against this Orc camp and use it as a little bit of a defensive position to kind of set up some of my archers and fire in here. Yeah, the front line has been a little bit of a wash. The Ancient Tree Man, thankfully, hasn't taken much damage at all. And in certain situations, my Dryads are trading very efficiently. Though over here, getting rear charged by some Empire Knights is not the best. These are actually not Dryads, Eternal Guards. We're going to give them 100 armor, though, with that Flesh to Stone. So as they fight against these units here, they'll take relatively little damage. You can see those Demigryph Knights did charge in, do some good damage to the Waystalkers, but, I mean, Waystalkers aren't pushovers in melee. 55-45 for attack and defense. You can definitely fight in prolonged combat there. And they probably won't take too much charge damage, but these Glade Riders get absolutely shattered. Boris is doing his best to try and chase off all these archers, but because of the way they routed here, they're kind of all spread out. Provides me a nice crossfire situation. I can just have these Eternal Guards kind of hang around in a protection position here as the Dryads fight in the forest very appropriately. And the armored Eternal Guards here with 100 armor are able to hold out in time to get some timely assistance from these Dryads here. And more Dryads coming in the distance there. So great stuff for the Wood Elves. Balance of power still very close, though. Boris is an absolute terror in the night. And how many Knights are here? There's just a handful of Demigryph Knights here, I think. So most of the Knights of the Blazing Sun, the Empire Knights, actually have been dealt with. But the Ancient Tree Man being so healthy is great for me. He has expert charge defense, so he won't take a lot of charge damage from Boris. He can hit pretty hard with his armor-piercing attacks. Doesn't have the most attack in the world, only 33 with Boris's debuffs active. But even still, I mean, only 40 attack for Boris, so he's still got a pretty good chance to hit there. And at the very least, just kind of providing, again, that solid anchor. He's not really going to die here, right? And that's the important thing. You can provide an anchor for, like, the Waystalkers to shoot in here, can get some of the Eternal Guards to come give spear support. And we've also got plenty of Glade Guard available as well to keep shooting in with their missiles. So yeah, good stuff. Arrows of Kurnos comes in. We're going to go ahead and focus fire on Boris as he's engaged with the Tree Man. Go ahead and drop an Earthblood there. I'm going to run directly into this Soulfire with these Eternal Guards, which is absolutely great. They pay the ultimate price. But again, it's more just about holding Boris in place here while the ranged units do the damage, and just hoping that, you know, Ancient Tree Man gets a hit or two at least. So, pretty good stuff. Boris does lose out on his leadership, and that's very quickly going to lead to army losses. So, well played, Samurai Warrior. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. It's definitely a valid build to go with the Night Rush here. Personally, I like Volkmar better than any of the Griffin Lords because he has a little bit better anti-infantry, especially anti-light infantry potential. So you can use that Soulfire and Banishment to really tear up Elves' backline. It's very hard for the Elves to kill. Absolute terror in the night, just running around, being very mobile. He's got his own self-healing as well, so personally I would have preferred to see him over Boris here, but Boris is definitely a solid pick as well. Obviously, without Volkmar, he would have had even less armor-piercing or anti-large, so yeah, it would have been potentially tougher to take out that Ancient Tree Man, who is very healthy, currently hidden in the woods. One of my favorite things about the Tree Men, to be honest. They're the only single-entity monster, one of the only single-entity monsters that can hide in the woods, which is obviously appropriate and hilarious. So, well played to Samurai Warrior. He is, of course, an Italian content creator, for those of you guys who don't know him, so be sure to check out his channel. And yeah, fun matchup, definitely. The Knights of Blazing Sun were able to come in, get 102 kills in one situation, but the other one, only 39. 64 here is pretty good, 13, but actually the Dryads ended up being a great pick for me. 81 kills and 76. Meant that I was able to kind of throw them in the front line there and not worry too much. It's not super typical that you outnumber your opponent when playing as the Wood Elves, but we were in a pretty fortunate situation here. My idea was to try and make a full stack, if I could, of Wood Elves while still making a decent army. I think this is pretty decent, I have to say. It's not quite a full stack. It's really hard to actually get a full stack with the Wood Elves. But this is pretty darn close, and I particularly am a fan of the Waystalkers. It's not a tool that I've used too much in the past. I am starting to kind of come around to them. Definitely needs more experimentation, but having the two of them kind of supporting each other, that way you only have to buy the missile attack buff on one of them, right? Because it will give it to both. You can use that Arrows of Kurnos to take out enemy artillery in that matchup. You can use it like I did there against enemy heavy cavalry. It's just kind of a nice little utility. And again, 55, 45, these guys are not complete slouches in melee. So in the late game, if you do need to use them, you know, to fight like Empire State Troops or whatever, even like Empire Knights there, they don't have the best attack and defense in the world, to be honest. Neither do Demogryph Knights even. So, I mean, once their charge bonus wears off, these Waystalkers will actually be able to fight okay. So yeah, definitely a big fan there. And of course, taking two does mean you got to have a Caster Lord. Tree Man or Durthu is your two options. Personally, I like the Tree Man. He's pretty cheap. Gives you a healer and Lord in one. Also has this nice AoE melee attack buff. Doesn't have as much offensive potential as Durthu, obviously. Not nearly as strong of a combatant, but having access to Lore of Life on your Lord for relatively cheap, pretty nice. Like, this is the loadout I would typically take with Earthblood and Shield of Thorns. And if we have the money as well, I might actually keep this Life Bloom. I don't normally, but what do we have? Like 5 Eternal Guards with Spears, 4 Dryads. Something to this effect. Hagbane Tips, Starfire Shafts. Yeah, I think I went wrong with it somewhere because I had one extra Glade Rider. But yeah, you get the idea. And as I mentioned, I like Volkmar better in this matchup, just for his AoE damage potential against light infantry. It's self-healing, like I mentioned, and yeah, I think just in general he's going to be a little bit better of an option against the Wood Elves. Yeah, elsewhere on the Empire, I do think if you're worried about the anti-large armor piercing not being able to take down trees, Huntsmen, while they don't have the best AP values, the anti-large certainly helps, and they have pretty good AP. and they'll absolutely shred things like Wild Riders or Glade Riders, so I definitely consider maybe taking some Huntsmen as sort of an insurance tool, maybe going a little bit lighter on Knights. I know. I advocate for the Night Rush here, honestly, but yeah, that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.